And I kind of have to ask why. What is going on? Why can't we? When I was in France last year, you could go down the autumn and you can see men drilling the side of the road, trying to bike with flimsy cones with the traffic screaming by. Here, we just seem to sort of, I don't know, do things under the cover of darkness. I would imagine a lot comes down to the sort of plangocracy and layers of bureaucracy. And we're hearing already, certain utilities, you've got to get things done on time, others you can't, they're not cooperating. It's a big entangled mess. It needs to be streamlined quite clearly.
Alex, you spoke to local authorities and people responsible for roadworks. I mean, what kind of things did they say for the explanation for all these things that we're talking about that people think, well, hang on, why aren't people working on this? It seems to be that no one's ever working on
I mean, that is the biggest frustration, isn't it? You have the assumption that nothing is happening. So Streetworks UK is the body that represents utility companies. So it is a case of utility companies and local authorities having to coordinate when roadworks take place in a local area. And Streetworks UK says that they do that as much as possible. There are situations where it might be an emergency piece of work that needs to happen, and therefore they're allowed to do it on an emergency permit. But I have to say, I think it's accurate to say there's definitely frustration from the side of both local authorities, but in some cases also the utility companies as well, about how that work is being coordinated. And it is right to say the government's looking at things like rolling out more of these lane rental schemes, although the utility companies say, well, look, if you're going to charge us more to work on the roads, we might end up having to pass that on to the consumer at the end of the day. But there is a lot of conversation about that coordination. On that issue of all of those cones on the motorway, for example, you might see no one working. Well, we spoke to National Highways, which runs the strategic road network in England, and they say that quite often it is the case that they might be working at night because it is safer. And I said, well, why can't you take the cones away during the day, get the traffic moving? And they made the case that it's more cost effective to keep them in place, that it has to be a balance between cost effectiveness and safety. But interestingly, there are some examples where they are trialling a slightly different approach. So, for example, on the M25, where there's a huge project going on to upgrade junction 10 of the M25 where it meets the A3.
Oh, I've been round it many times.
But then you will know, Vicky, about those roadworks there, which have been happening for years, because it's a huge project and it's meant to improve efficiency and safety and all the rest of it.